Hello, welcome to topic 2 for database concept, right? So topic 2 is relational database concept. I am Miss Hazlina Harun, your lecturer for database subject. So we have two parts, okay? Right, so let's continue. So these are the chapter objectives that by the end of the topic, should be able to achieve this learning outcome. Learn the conceptual foundation of the relational model, understand how relations differ from non-relational table. You should be able to learn the basic relational terminology, learn the meaning and the importance of keys, foreign keys, and related terminology, and understand how foreign keys represent relationship. All right. So these are the structure of relational database. Okay, what is relation? The term relational data structure. What is the meaning of relation in database terminology? A relation means a relation is a table with columns and rows. So we can say when we are talking in database language, we can term it as relation, where relation means a table with columns and rows. All right, attributes. Attributes is a name, column, and rows. Okay, attribute means it characterizes the table. Domain is a set of allowable values for one or more attributes. Tuple is a row of a relation. So in a table, because a table is a relation, so in the table we have a row, okay, or many rows. So sometimes in database terminology, we term it as tuple. Degree is the degree of a relation, means that the number of attribute is contained. It means that the relation between two tables, how many records or how many rows that in one table participate with rows in another table. Cardinality is the cardinality of a relation, is the number of tuple it contains, and relational database means collection of normalized relation with distinct relation names. We will have one topic on normalization, so you will know better. But when we say relational database, it is actually tables that are connected with each other. If you still remember our topic 1, okay, where we say that a database is a shared collections of data, and you arrange that data in terms of table. So that tables in one database, you may contain 4 or more 5 tables, and between that tables they have a link between one another. That's what we call relational database. Okay, this is example of a relation. A relation is a table, right? So in a table, we have the name of the relation. We have the attributes of the relation. Student has name, student has SSN, which is the ID number. Student has home phone, student has address, office phone, age, and GPA. And this is rows where we term it as tuples, but it's okay if you want to term it as rows or columns or fields, yeah, in the database terminology. All right, so rows contain data about an entity. Okay, rows contain data about an entity. Columns, these are the characteristics of a relation, means a characteristics of a table. Okay, rows contain data about entity. Columns contain data about attributes of the entity. Attributes are the field like name, ID, age, home, and rows is the number of records. Yeah. So columns contain data about the attributes. Cell of the table hold a single value. What does it mean? It means that in each cell you should only have one value, atomic value. Okay. All entries in a column are of the same kind. What does it mean? Okay, let's say in a table, let's say you have a table. Okay, you have a table, right? And then first table is ID. Sorry, first table. First column is ID. Second column is name. Okay, so each column, all entries in a column are of the same kind. What does it mean? in this column ID, it should only be ID 1, 2, 3, and so on. In this column, it should only contains name, yeah, A, B, C. So this is what it meant by all entries in a column are the same kind. Each column has a unique name. Okay, when you have this ID, you cannot have another ID on the next column. It has to be unique. The order of the column is unimportant. So the first column is ID, second column is name, third probably age. Yeah, probably age. So the sequence is not important. So if let's say you want to put the first column age, alright, second column name, second column ID can, because the order of the column is unimportant. The order of the rows, okay, 1, 2, 3 is also not important. Okay, let's say the first one you store ID 3, the second rows you store ID 10, the third row you store ID 2, it's okay. Okay, the order of the rows is unimportant. No two rows may be identical, means that when you have this rows, yeah, let's say you have this row, for example. All right, so you cannot say that you have ID 1 here, you have ID 1 here, so it cannot be identical. It should be unique, right? Okay, this is an example of table with ID. Okay, you cannot duplicate it. Like this one is 100, 101, 104, 107, and then this one, the order of the row is unimportant. The order of the column is also unimportant. Each column has a unique name. If you have employee number here, you cannot have another employee number in another column. All entries in a column are of the same kind. So you have first name. This column should contain names only. Okay. All right. A non-relation example. Okay. It means that table that is not properly designed and created. For example, cells of the table hold multiple values. For this phone, you have two values. Okay, for this particular cell. So you remember the characteristics of a relation. One cell can only contain single value. All right. Example of no two rows may be identical. You have 100 here, you also have another 100 here. So cannot. This is a non-relational table. Okay. So this is the terminology of a database, right? So when you say table, okay, we have three types: table, file, relation. So in terms of when we use the term table, we will term it as row and column. When we term it as file, we call it record or field. For column, row is record. When we term it as relation is table, yeah. So then the row becomes tuple, we term it as tuple, and the column we term it as attribute. All right, so what is composite attributes? Okay, composite attribute means in one attribute it can breakable into other attributes. For example, you have one attribute name, yeah, but from name you can have first name, you can have middle initial, and you can also have last name. So this is what it meant by composite attributes. Attributes characterize the column, yeah. Okay. Address. Okay, we have one attribute named address. So address, you can break it into street, city, state, and postal code. In the street, you can still break it into street number, street name, and apartment number. So this is also the example of composite. So this is one composite. This is also one composite. You can term all of this. So you can term all of this as nested attribute. Okay, nested. Right? Okay, so in entity relationship diagram, okay, this is the this diagram shows the relationship between one entity with another entity. Okay, so let's look at what does this symbol means. You have rectangle, you have diamond shape, you have ellipse, yeah, ellipse shape, some ellipse underline, yeah, some ellipse It's not underlined. So what does that mean? Okay, the first one, rectangles represent entity set. Okay, customer loan is an entity. What is an entity? Entity is anything that can be declared, can be created when you want to store data. In a simple word, entity is actually a table where you store data. Okay, so the tips is how to identify what is what is entity. If you have more than one records, then you can create one as an entity. Diamond shape represent the relationship sets. It means the relationship between one entity with another entity. The term is entity relationship diagram. So a relation between a table with another table, they are linked with one diamond shape. Okay, and this is what we call the relationship between two entities. Lines link attributes to entity sets and entity sets to relationship sets, right? So line, okay, for example, these are the attributes, yeah, these are attribute ellipses represent attributes. So they have to be attached to the entity because attributes characterize entity. Okay, so we can read as customer has ID, customer has name, customer has street, customer has city. Loan has loan number, loan has the amount, right? So it has to be attached, and between entity is also linked using a straight line that connect from one entity to another entity through the diamond shape. Okay, so ellipses represent attributes. So these are all attributes. These are attributes characterize customer. This attribute characterize loan. Okay, double ellipses. Yeah, you can use double ellipses, double line ellipses that represent multi-valued attributes. We have seen and learn what is the meaning of multi-valued attributes. For example, if you have name, so if in this customer name you want to break into more attribute, which is first name, last name, you can use double ellipses, yeah, double line ellipses to represent the multi-value attributes. Dash ellipses denote derived attributes. Okay, we will look into what is the meaning of derived attributes. Underline, okay, this is the underline, indicates primary key attributes. We will study later. Right, so this is the example of double ellipses, right? It means that from phone number you can break more, okay? And also there's no example of the dotted line, yeah? Or the derived. This one is a dotted line, sorry. This is a dotted line, okay? So what does it mean? A derived attribute. Age, you can get age for customer from date of birth. So this is actually derived from date of birth. So that's why the shape is dotted line, dotted ellipse. All right, so this is with composite, multi-valued, and derived. Yeah, so this is the key. What is meaning of key? We will look into this, but basically key is to determine to differentiate each rows. Okay, and then and the keys for train, relation train, and the name of train station. Sorry. Okay. Alright, this is another example of entity relationship diagram for hospital. How many entities that you can see? Worker, doctor, nurse, patient, room, and station. Okay, and then let's look at the ID. So you have ID here. You also have this double line for relationship. Yeah. Okay, so that is the end of part 1. So we will continue to part 2 on the keys, yeah, types of the keys. Stay tuned. Thank you very much.